I took the car, but I got a flat tire. And I didn't have any money, so I had to kind of call him for help.
Do you ever find yourself wondering what becomes of a beloved leader when they are confronted with unforeseen turmoil? In this video, we will delve into the life of Pastor Tony Evans, a guy who is well known for his eloquent sermons and moral leadership, but who is currently at a crossroads in his life. The shocking claims that shattered his ministry are only one example of the many things that need to be unpacked. His new marriage to Carla Crummy is another. You will not want to miss out on the opportunity to examine his past, the controversies, and the potential future events. Tony Evans's reputation and public persona respectively. Tony Evans is a well-known preacher who has been teaching people throughout the world for a considerable amount of time about God and how to have a decent life. Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship is a large church located in Dallas, Texas, and he serves as the pastor there. There are tens of thousands of people who visit this church on a weekly basis in order to listen to him talk about God and the Bible. Furthermore, Tony Evans is the author of a large number of publications that teach people how to conduct their lives in a manner that brings joy to God. People who are unable to visit his church can still hear him. He even discusses his faith on the radio so that they can still hear him. Tony Evans is well known all around the world, particularly in Christian groups, and not just in his church. This is because of the situations described above. It is largely due to the fact that Tony Evans always makes an effort to act in a moral manner that he is liked and valued by a large number of people. In a significant portion of his conversations, he reads from the Bible and discusses how to live in a manner that is morally sound. The reason that people have faith in him is that they observe that he not only speaks positive things, but also makes an effort to live up to those words. To live a decent life, one must adhere to the standards that are found in the Bible and prioritize doing what is right over doing what is wrong. Tony Evans has garnered a reputation as a person who engages in this activity. A great number of people appreciate and trust him as a result of this. Anthony Evans's wife, Lois Evans, played a significant role in his life. In addition to being his spouse, Lois was also his partner in the job that he undertook at the church. Not only did she provide him a lot of help, but she was also quite involved in the church. All of the people who attended the church admired Lois because she was strong, caring, and willing to assist those who were in need. Her collaboration with Tony was aimed at transforming Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship into a location where individuals could go to gain knowledge about God and receive assistance with their life. The congregation at the church had a great deal of affection for Lois, and she was responsible for the improvement of a great number of people's lives. After a protracted and arduous battle against cancer, Lois passed away in 2019. Despite the fact that Tony and his family were going through an extremely difficult period, everyone in the church felt her loss very strongly as well. Even if Lois is no longer with us, the things that she left behind will continue to exist. The vital things that a person leaves behind after they pass away are referred to as their legacy. The love, kindness, and strength that Lois shown to everyone she knew are the things that she left behind for those following her. People who knew her in the church continue to make reference to the ways in which she contributed to Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, becoming the robust community that it is today. Together, Lois and Tony were the parents of 4 children. They instilled in their children the same values of faith and social service that were significant to them as they were to themselves. Tony has stated on numerous occasions that he would not be in the position that he is in now if Lois were not in his life. Despite the fact that she is no longer alive, those who knew her continue to experience her love and support in Tony's work via her. Over the course of his whole life, Tony Evans has dedicated himself to serving God and instructing people on how to lead moral lives. With Lois by his side, he established himself as a powerful voice in the Christian community, and people continue to reach out to him for guidance. A great number of people continue to draw motivation from his reputation as a leader who abides by the Word of God and leads a moral life. The death of Tony Evans's first wife, Lois, would, however, put in motion a series of changes that would threaten the consistent public image that he had maintained throughout his life. The new wife, Carla Crummy, is introduced with a brief backstory. The fact that Carla Crummy married Pastor Tony Evans was the event that brought her to the attention of the general public. She is a woman who is both engaging and courteous. Before she became Tony's wife, Carla was well known for her extensive career in the teaching profession. Many people looked up to her because she was passionate about making the world a better place, and she enjoyed assisting children in their educational and developmental endeavors. Carla was also recognized for being a kindness ambassador, which means that she encouraged people to treat others with love, kindness, and respect throughout their lives. Because she was usually smiling and had a passion for education, she was appreciated by a lot of people. As a result of Carla Evans's marriage to Tony Evans, a great number of individuals became interested in her. Tony's first wife was a woman named Lois Evans. Before she passed away, they had been married for a considerable amount of time, and their connection was well known within the church. Consequently, the introduction of Carla into Tony's life was a momentous occasion, and everyone was paying great attention to it. Many people were relieved to see Carla because they believed that she would provide Tony with a new beginning following the tragic loss he had suffered. The fact that she remained loyal to Tony and assisted him in his work as a preacher was regarded as particularly admirable by them. In the beginning, however, not everyone had the same sentiment. In the church, as well as in the media, there were some people who had reservations about Carla. In light of the fact that they were uncertain about how they felt about Tony's new relationship, they believed that it might be too soon for him to get married again, following Lois's passing. A significant number of individuals had strong views regarding it, and they discussed it both within and outside of the walls of the church. Following the death of Lois, some people believed that Tony ought to have discovered happiness once more, while others believed that he had moved on too quickly. As is customary whenever two people get married, there was a lot of conversation and there were stories being told. Some others did not have faith in Carla's role in Tony's life and questioned whether or not they had been dating for a longer period of time than anyone was aware of. It is not quite obvious that these thoughts were accurate, but in situations such as this, individuals have a tendency to speculate and talk about it. Despite the fact that Carla was recognized for her kind and caring nature, there were still some members of the church who were uncertain about her and uncertain about how she fit into Tony's life and goal. Carla was eventually accepted by a growing number of individuals as Tony's new wife and as someone who would be there for him as he transitioned into a new phase of his life. However, this acceptance took place over the course of time. In the beginning, some were suspicious, but Carla continued to demonstrate her love and loyalty to Tony and the work that he was doing. In addition, as time went on, they started to accept her. She continued to use her fame to teach lessons of love, respect, and understanding, thereby making the accusations public. She is a teacher and an advocate for kindness. Did Tony Evans make a statement? The occurrence of something unforeseen on a certain day came as a full surprise. On the occasion when Pastor Tony Evans stepped in front of his congregation, he shared a surprising revelation with them. It was revealed to those who had been following him for a number of years that he was going to be leaving his position as a preacher. Nobody was able to expect it. It is puzzling that Tony Evans, who had been in charge of the church for several decades, would suddenly decide to resign aside from his position. The announcement that Tony made seemed to imply that he had committed some mistakes or sins in the past, but he did not specify what those mistakes or sins were. The question that everyone had was, what specifically did he mean? At the moment when Tony made his statement, people started making assumptions. People started to speculate about whether or not his previous transgressions had any connection to Carla Crummy, who was his new wife. Ever before Carla and Tony tied the knot, there has been a lot of discussion about her. And as the news spread that Tony was going to be leaving his work, the rumors about their relationship became even more widespread. Questions such as, did Tony fail to disclose all of the details regarding their marriage, began to be asked by individuals. Would it be possible that Carla is connected to these sins in some way? All over the church and in the news, there were a lot of stories that were being discussed. A number of individuals were of the opinion that Tony's announcement might have been connected to previous concerns over Carla. Allegations circulated that Tony and Carla had been together for a longer period of time than anyone was aware of prior to their marriage. It appears that these rumors are resurfacing at this same moment. People started to question whether or not their previous hypotheses were accurate. Moreover, if Tony's statement was him expressing his concern that things was not quite right, One of the most intriguing aspects of Tony's announcement was the fact that it was hiding a secret. People's interest was heightened even further due to the fact that he had not provided sufficient information. When Tony resigned, some people speculated that he did so in order to avoid receiving additional attention, or because there may be additional lies that have not yet been made public. The fact that there was insufficient information led to everyone making assumptions, which in turn led to the stories spreading even farther. Would you believe that Tony and Carla had been keeping anything from you all this time? People were perplexed. Following an extended period of uncertainty, Tony's statements provided several members of the group with a sense of reassurance. They were always under the impression that Tony and Carla's relationship was more than just platonic. In addition, they believed that their suspicions were validated by the fact that Tony eventually left. Some individuals, however, were confused and unsure of what they should believe. They did not know whether the stories were accurate or whether Tony was actually leaving for a different cause than what was being reported. The characteristics of the sin. In the event that he stands in front of the public on a certain day, everyone is prepared to listen to yet another typical lecture. However, an unforeseen occurrence takes place. What Tony said was not heard by anyone else. He makes reference to a mistake that he made in the past, but he does not indicate what the mistake was. Due to this, people are showing a great deal of interest in what he is providing information about. However, Pastor Evans has made the decision to continue his silence, leaving everyone in the dark. There are a lot of various things that people think about when someone admits that they made a mistake, but does not specify what the fault is. Several individuals started to speculate that the sin might have something to do with his new wife, Carla Crummy, and that this was the case. Immediately following the passing of Tony's first wife, Lois, Carla entered his life. In the time that has passed since then, there have been tales spoken about how quickly they came together. Is it possible that Carla is connected to this transgression in some way? Despite the fact that they did not have certainty, there were some individuals who contemplated these questions. Due to the fact that Tony did not provide any specifics, the situation became even more murky. Some individuals believed that it was a little matter, while others believed that it had the potential to be something far more significant. Since Tony did not provide a specific account of what took place, people were able to speculate more about what transpired. People were trying to figure out what the sin could be while they were talking to one another. A number of people speculated that it might be connected to Carla in some way. Now she played a significant role in Tony's life. In addition, there were certain individuals who had been skeptical about their link from the very beginning. What people did in the church was different. Some people were shocked that Tony, who had been a strong leader for so long, would even talk about a sin from the past. Some people were lost and didn't know what to think. Many people were most interested in why Tony would talk about it without going into more depth. People who followed him had believed him and paid attention to him for a long time. So when they heard this news, they didn't know what was going on. They tried to understand, but it was hard to know what to believe without more details. The crowd talked even more after Tony's announcement because of the mystery surrounding it. People thought the sin might have something to do with them and something that happened a long time ago. Some people thought it might have something to do with his job as a preacher or his friendship with Carla. It was hard to know for sure because there wasn't much information. After church, at home, and even online, people talked about it. Each person had their own idea about what Tony might have meant. There was a lot of stress because of this doubt. No one knew the specifics, so everyone had to guess. That's when stories and guesses can really spread. The situation seemed even more serious because Tony's words were not very clear. It was clear that everyone wanted to know the truth, but they only had questions. As the church members reacted to Evans's comments, attention turned to Carla and her role in their marriage and ministry. Carla's role in the alleged scandal. Let's talk about Tony Evans's new wife, Carla Crummy. Carla is a nice person who is known for being a child teacher and a kindness ambassador. After Tony's first wife, Lois Evans, died, she came into his life. Lois Evans was liked by everyone at church. A lot of people were interested in Carla and Tony's wedding because Tony was well known in the church. People began to wonder if Carla had anything to do with it after Tony told them about a sin he had done in the past. We still don't know for sure if Carla is part of the sin Tony talked about. But because Tony's announcement was so vague, people began to guess what Carla's part was. A few people believe Carla may have had an effect on Tony in ways that no one expected. Maybe they've been together longer than everyone thought, or there were other things going on behind the scenes. People began to guess what might have happened when there were no clear replies. And some people have been talking about Carla behind her back since she married Tony. The talk only got louder after Tony quit. Carla may have had a bigger impact on Tony's choice than most people think. She may have had something to do with Tony's statement. Some people think that Carla may have had an effect on Tony's decisions in ways that people who had known him for a long time did not expect because she was new to the church and to his life. People pay close attention to you when you're in a big, important job like Tony Evans. They paid attention when Tony talked about his sins and when Carla and Tony were together. From here, some people are asking if Carla's presence in his life had anything to do with his choice to step down. In the end, marriage is a team, and Tony may have thought about his past because of the way they were together. A lot of people have different ideas about what could have happened. Some people believe Carla knew something about Tony's past and that being around her made him want to tell the truth. Some people are wondering if Carla and Tony's friendship has anything to do with the sin Tony talked about. A lot of people in the church are still trying to figure out what happened and why Tony made the big choice to step down. The public has a lot of thoughts whenever a well-known person like Tony Evans is involved. There are people who think Carla is not guilty of the sin Tony talked about. Some people believe she was more important than people know in the story. All of these ideas and guesses are just that for now, ideas and guesses. But one thing is certain, Carla's part in Tony's life is now one of the most interesting things about this story. People haven't stopped talking about Tony's statement and Carla's part in it because of the mystery and questions that surround it. Until more information comes out, it's hard to know what's really going on. For now, though, people can't stop thinking how much this has to do with Carla and what really happened between her and Tony. Reactions from the evangelical community. People who are religious were all shocked when Pastor Tony Evans made his shocking statement. Imagine being in church and hearing your minister talk about a sin he did in the past without going into any more detail. No one saw that coming. A lot of people in the crowd were shocked and confused. They were scared and unsure after hearing Tony talk about his mistakes. He had always been a strong leader. Some people were shocked and asked, "How could this happen?" They were interested, but Tony didn't say much, which made them want to know more. The word got around quickly outside of church. Right away, religious news outlets picked up the story and told their readers and listeners about it. Like everyone else, they were shocked by what Tony said and didn't know what to say in response. Aside from religious news outlets, secular news outlets also covered the story, reaching more people. Everyone was talking about Tony Evans and the strange thing he said. As always, folks had different thoughts on the big news. Some of Tony's fans were totally behind him. They liked that he was honest, even though he didn't give all the details. Some people thought Tony was strong and humble when he chose to talk about his sin. They told him they supported him and thought it was great that he stepped down. But some people did not agree. Some people didn't agree with Tony's choice. They thought he should have been more honest and given more information. Some people didn't believe Tony and wondered why he would bring up a sin from the past now when he was still a recognized leader. These critics weren't sure what would happen in the future and wondered if Tony was still a good boss, digging deeper into the rumors. There were already stories going around about Tony Evans and his new wife, Carla Crummy, before he made his shocking statement. Rumors start out as small stories that people share when they don't have all the facts. Sometimes these stories can get bigger. In this case, Tony and Carla had been talked about for a while. Some people wondered if they had been dating longer than people thought, or if there was something else going on behind the scenes. There was no proof for these reports, but they made people suspicious. For many years, there was some whispered talk going on in and around the church. Some people had long thought that Tony's personal life or the church might be having problems, but nothing had ever been proven. When Tony's first wife, Lois, died and Carla came into his life, some people in the church started to wonder, do you think they were dating too quickly? Was the story longer? People asked these questions, but no one had a clear answer. Now that Tony has admitted to a past mistake, those old stories have started to come back. People began to think that the sin Tony talked about might have something to do with Carla. Many people made guesses because Tony didn't give them enough information, and those guesses often turned into more stories. Some people thought Carla had changed Tony in ways that weren't clear at first. Other people thought there might be problems that had been hidden, but were now being found. People have different ideas about Tony and Carla now because of these stories. Some people's opinions about Tony's leadership and Carla's role in his life have been clouded by the rumors. They want to know if the story is deeper than what has been told. For some, the reports are just that, talk that has no real base. The reports have made an already strange situation even more interesting, though, no matter what people think. They want to know the truth. As the church community processed these allegations, questions arose about how Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship would adapt to life without its founding leader. What this means for Evans's ministry. Tony Evans has been a major figure in Christian groups for a long time, and his work has changed the lives of many people around the world. His books, lectures, and guidance at Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship have left a long mark. People aren't sure what will happen with this service now that he has decided to step down. When a leader who has been important to the community steps down, it can cause confusion. This is especially true for Tony Evans' mission, which is big and important. Not only does his departure affect him, but it also affects his community, the people who follow him, and the future of his work. Under Evans' leadership, Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship has grown into a huge spiritual center over the years. Its vision, purpose, and principles were shaped by him, so his leaving leaves a hole. Now the big question is, how will the church change? Will new people be put in charge, or will the church's system change completely? It might be hard for people to get used to a new preacher or way of leading when they are used to Tony's way of teaching and leading. People in the congregation may not know what will happen in the future without their known leader leading the way. Tony Evans's new wife, Carla Crummy, could also have an impact on the church's future. She is already well known for being a teacher and a good example of kindness. But now that Tony has quit, some people are wondering if Carla will get more active in the church. Could she take on a bigger role in the ministry? Because of her background, she could give Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship a new point of view or some new energy. But not everyone might be okay with her taking on a bigger role, especially since there are reports that they are married. Some people in the church may be doubtful or hesitant about Carla's role. There will be big choices for the church to make as it goes forward. Even though Tony Evans built a strong church, it can still face problems. It's not clear if the church will continue to do well or poorly without him. But a lot will rest on the decisions that are made in the next few months. When things are unsure, strong groups often find ways to come together. This could be a chance for the church to show faith and strength. Pastor Tony Evans' redemption story, many people are asking if Tony Evans can get back on his feet after this public fall. His career has been built on faith, hope, and forgiveness. His followers have always looked to him for spiritual direction. Now they want to know if he can win back the trust of the church and the Christian community as a whole. As many Christians think that Tony can be saved, they see a way for him to move forward. It won't be easy, though. Public issues can hurt people, and it can take a long time and be hard to get better, especially if trust has been broken. Tony Evans will probably have to take a few steps to make things right, starting with being more open about the problem. Being open and honest will help him win back the trust of his fans. Many people are waiting for him to clarify the type of sin he mentioned in his resignation, since there is still a lot of uncertainty. If these facts are made clear, it might help stop some of the lies and fix his image. People might keep making guesses to fill in the blanks if he isn't clear, which could hurt his image even more. He will probably also need time to think about things and look for spiritual healing as part of his recovery. Taking a break from the public eye has helped many leaders who have been involved in scandals get back on track with their faith and personal growth. Tony may also get help from close friends, faith leaders, and family. Carla, his wife, could be a big part of his quest to change. He might look better in public and get better faster if she is by his side, showing support and helping him through this tough time. When leaders make mistakes, the Christian group often splits. Some people will pray for him and be there for him, while others may pull away because they feel like their trust was broken. Tony Evans may be able to get back to being a leader if his followers approve of his attempts to heal and grow. He might win their hearts back if they believe he is truly sorry and determined to make things right. A lot of the time, leaders are able to connect with their groups more deeply when they are open and vulnerable. Tony Evans's story of forgiveness hasn't been told yet, but with time, work, and spiritual thought, it could become one of healing and hope. If people believe in second chances, they will be very interested in his story from now on, even if he doesn't make a full recovery, the legacy of Tony Evans and his new chapter. Many people are interested in what new projects or organizations Tony Evans might take on now that he is no longer preaching. He has been pastoring Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship for decades, and this is his first chance to try something new without the weight of full-time tasks. With all of his life experience, Tony might be able to help the religious group in more than one way. The things he could do in his next stage are exciting, whether it's writing, giving talks, or helping younger pastors. This change could give him the chance to share his ideas with people all over the world, rather than just a small group of people in his church. One place where Tony Evans could make a big difference is with his large collection of lessons. Because so much content has already been made, he can package and share his work in new ways. His lessons might be able to reach people outside of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship through online courses, videos, or even a set of books. There are many ways for preachers to reach more people in this digital age, and Tony has already shown that he wants to use these new tools to do so. Many people have found motivation in his lectures. These new forms could give his message a new life and take it to places he hasn't been before. Another option is that Tony will decide to spend more time with his family. His personal life has changed a lot since the death of his first wife, Lois Evans. His marriage to Carla Crummy is a big part of these changes. During this time, he might choose to focus on his job as a husband and father and build stronger bonds with his family. To many leaders, stepping away from public life is a chance to strengthen personal relationships that may have been put on hold during years of service. At this point in his life, Tony might benefit from a less busy home life, away from the stress of running a big church. Moreover, Tony's potential shift towards mentorship could also yield significant benefits for both him and the next generation of church leaders. By sharing his vast knowledge and experience, he can help aspiring pastors navigate the complexities of ministry while cultivating their unique voices. His commitment to leadership development could foster a new wave of impactful ministries, creating a legacy that extends beyond his immediate congregation. In this new chapter, he may also explore collaboration with other faith leaders, uniting different perspectives and resources to address contemporary issues within communities. Engaging in such initiatives could amplify his influence and ensure that his teachings continue to inspire and uplift countless individuals. Tony Evans could also explore the development of long-term humanitarian programs that focus on sustainable solutions. By addressing the root causes of poverty, inequality, and lack of education, he could foster initiatives that provide not only immediate relief, but also empower communities to become self-sufficient. For example, he might partner with organizations to build schools, provide vocational training, or create microfinancing opportunities for entrepreneurs in impoverished areas. His deep understanding of spiritual and material needs could make these programs particularly effective, offering a holistic approach that combines faith with action. In addition, Evans's voice could become a powerful tool for advocacy, speaking out on issues such as racial justice, environmental stewardship, and healthcare access, using his platform to rally support for systemic change. Beyond humanitarian work, Tony could also explore creative media as a way to extend his reach. He might produce documentaries, podcasts, or even films that address both religious and social themes, giving a broader audience access to his insights. His storytelling ability and knack for simplifying complex ideas could resonate deeply with viewers and listeners worldwide. In the age of digital media, Tony Evans' message has the potential to transcend traditional boundaries, reaching diverse audiences who may not typically engage with church sermons or religious literature. By embracing innovative platforms, Tony could continue to share his vision of faith, hope, and justice in a way that is both relevant and accessible. In every direction Tony Evans chooses, his deep commitment to serving others will likely remain at the core. Whether he's mentoring future pastors, advocating for social change, or expanding his academic contributions, Tony's next chapter holds the promise of expanding his already substantial legacy, ensuring that his influence endures for generations to come. Through both local and global initiatives, his work could provide a model of leadership that blends spiritual wisdom with practical impact, offering a blueprint for other faith leaders to follow. Pastor Tony Evans has faced incredible highs and shocking lows. Do you think he'll redeem himself? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell for more thrilling stories like this. Click on the next video popping on your screen now.